Are you sure this will work? Chi-Chi said skeptically. Of course I'm sure. I'm a scientist, Bulma replied. I don't know why you want me to be your guinea pig. Wouldn't Yamcha be better suited? Or perhaps Tien or Krillin? Oh, they want to train with Kami. They're not interested in my idea. Well, it is pretty far out there, Bulma, Chi-Chi said, folding her arms across her chest. I mean, the idea that you can use, what are they again? Bundle waves? Blunt waves. That's what I'm using, Bulma said, looking up from her console. Yeah, blunt waves. To increase the potential of people to grow stronger. It is pretty strange. It's a bizarre idea. Yeah, and this coming from a world of magic and Dragon Balls and ancient demons and kamis and spirits. Yeah, really strange. Point well taken, Chi-Chi said, not liking Bulma's tone of voice, but feeling it was best to change the subject. So I just stand on this pedestal and you zap me with these blunder waves, Chi-Chi said. Blunt waves. Bulma corrected again. Blunt waves, Chi-Chi said. And I will be able to become strong enough to rescue my son from King Piccolo. Well, he isn't King Piccolo, Bulma corrected. Chi-Chi frowned. Yeah, well, his son, Piccolo Jr., whatever. I don't want my child to be with him any longer. I know the rest of you aren't concerned, feeling that Piccolo will not harm Gohan because of the fact that he needs him to survive to defeat these Saiyans, but him wanting to be protected or not, I don't trust any demon, especially any bad demon, from a lineage of bad demons with my precious boy who should be studying so that he can prepare for the entrance exam to kindergarten coming up in another year. Well, whatever floats your boat. Bulma said an education is important. So, how will this work again? You just bombard me with blunt waves? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. You see, I've been studying the DNA of our different fighter friends, especially Goku's, though, because he seems to be the strongest and also seems to grow the fastest by training. I think I've isolated the parts of their DNA, once again, in particular Goku's, that allow them to be so strong and to grow so quickly through training, and in Goku's case, even it seems through being hurt, based on the limited data I've gathered. Bulma continued to explain happily. She loved explaining scientific jargon, as Chi Chi would see it, and others. It was her bread and butter as the prodigy daughter of the famous Dr. Brees. And I think I finally found the way to infuse these traits into others, to stimulate them, if you will. Oh, wait a minute, Chi said. You say infused? Well, yeah, it's just I found a way to isolate that power, the power to grow stronger, both from being injured and recovering from it, and from training at an accelerated rate, and just to be strong overall and infuse it into others. So you're going to infuse this into me, correct? And I'll be able then to become stronger and grow at a faster rate so that I can defeat Piccolo and rescue Gohan. Once again, you've got Piccolo on your mind. I don't care about Piccolo, Chi-Chi corrected. I only care about Gohan and saving him. Yeah, well, this should be able to allow you to do it, assuming it works and it doesn't, destroy you or anything. Well, what do you mean? Chi-Chi said, well, in case anything goes wrong, I can't 100% guarantee this will work, but if it makes you feel any better, I'll be taking the risk along with you. And why is that? Chi-Chi said, looking at Bulma. She jumped up on the neighboring pedestal. Well, because I'm tired of being sidelined too. Well, when the whole King Piccolo thing happened, and more recently with Garlic Jr., I wanted to help, or with Raditz, but there's really nothing I could do. So I feel, hey, a girl should be able to protect herself. Maybe you can give me some training pointers when this is over. Okay, we should begin to be bombarded any second now. I set the timer over there at the console. Zap, zing, bang, boom. The two pair of ladies were bombarded by the blunt waves and infused with the power both of Saiyan growth and of Zenkai boost, though they didn't, and a few other things, though they didn't know it at the time. This would indeed increase dramatically their ability to grow stronger through training and the adversity of injury. Well, said Chi-Chi after a wave of dizziness passed and the energy field fully dispersed, I don't really feel that much differently. Well, it'll take some time, Bulma said. Let's go and experiment. You see if we have any gains already. They went to the training facility next door, and sure enough, they were able to lift more, and their punches had more impact on the equipment than it did before. And in the case of Bulma, who started with a much lower base rate, much higher, and Chi-Chi's punches almost broke the punch machine's calibration. So, if this works, are you going to extend the procedure to Yamcha, Krillin, Tien, and Chaozu? Well, yeah, if they're willing, but I'd like to rub it in their face for a while that my methods work and produce results faster than training with Kami. Chi-Chi looked at her and frowned, and the pair of them were now in sweatsuits. That's an evil impulse, Bulma. Well, what can I say, Bulma said with a shrug. I feel that they should have to grovel a bit to obtain my specialized training technique. It's not really a training technique, Chi-Chi corrected. More so, it's a shortcut. Well, whatever, Bulma said dismissively. If they want to reap the rewards of my new training shortcut, she used her fingers to do air quotes, then they're going to have to beg me for it. Once again, that's an evil impulse, Chi-Chi said, looking none too impressed. But I do thank you, because now, if I train hard enough, in maybe another month or two, I could be able to get my son back from that monster Piccolo Jr. I can't abide him being there. He should be safely at home, undergoing his studies. He shouldn't be there with Piccolo Jr. I don't want him to be a fighter. Yeah, you said that several times. Even though as the son of Earth's greatest fighter, he certainly would have a knack for it, genetics and all that. Chi-Chi stared daggers at Bulma. I don't care if he has a knack for it or not. I do not want him to be a fighter. I have greater things in mind for him. I want him to be a scholar. I want him to have a normal life in the city. I don't want him to be like us and be fighting with all these monsters and scrounging out an existence. Wait, aren't you rich like I am? Bulma asked Chi-Chi, unimpressed. Well, yes, I am royalty, Chi-Chi said, but and we do have a warrior tradition. She was reaching for words, but I want something better for Gohan. I don't want him to have to live the way that my family has lived. I want him to have a respectable job, a respectable family, a respectable wife someday. That's what I want for him. As I said, I don't want him to be a fighter. Well, I suppose that's understandable. But still, one could also argue when you're the son of Earth's greatest fighter, you do have a bit of an obligation whenever Earth is threatened, and Earth is threatened a lot. And that's part of the reason that I underwent your experiment, Chi-Chi said, explaining herself further. Not only do I want to get Gohan back from that nefarious Piccolo Jr., but I also want to be able to step up to the plate if Earth is ever threatened again, so that Gohan will not have to. If Goku isn't around like he is now, after unfortunately what happened with Raditz. I don't want that burden to be placed on Gohan's shoulders. It's unfair for that to be placed on the shoulders of a child. He shouldn't have to deal with those responsibilities. The only thing he should have to worry about is being a child and studying for his upcoming kindergarten entrance exams so that he can become a scholar someday. He shouldn't have to worry about saving the world from mutants, monsters, and demons. That's what I should do in his place, and Goku should do, and the other of our friends should do. Well, you don't have to argue with me. Bulma said, "That's why I invented this machine. Though, by the way it was acting when we exited the lab, I think it's going to be a while before it can use it again." Yeah, it did. It's strange how it did burn out those parts. Yeah, the circuitry's kind of fried. I guess it was channeling a lot of energy to accomplish what it did, but I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, magic can accomplish this sort of thing, but that's different. It's changing fundamentally the laws of physics. My machine has to work within the, there has to be like calculations, calibrations. The equipment has to be designed so that it can actually stand the calibration, and if it's a little bit off, it can really harm a person or have no effect at all. And what? Shenron has existed for eons. I've only existed for 20 odd years. So, of course, even with my brilliance and my background and backing from my father, and building upon his equipment and know how, there is only so much that can be expected of me. "Wow, that's amazingly modest," Chi-Chi said with a chuckle. "What is that supposed to mean?" Bulma said, glaring at her. Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing," Chi-Chi said, continuing to giggle. "I want to thank you again for this offer." Well, you're welcome. But remember, if there's any side effects, you got to tell me right away. That's why I'm giving you this. She handed her a pad and a piece of paper. It's a little journal, just in case anything, unexpected happens in the next few days or weeks. Chi-Chi looked at her again with a deep frown. "Oh, what do you mean unexpected?" "Well," Bulma said, "there always are possibly side effects from any kind of procedure like this, and as any good scientist, I need to document them. Remember," Bulma added really quickly, "you agreed to be a guinea pig in this and to share that status with me, so you have to also, by extension, agree to keep me informed if anything happens. How else will I be able to improve my machine for use in the future once you repair it?" Chi-Chi said. Yeah, Bulma said, "once they're repaired, I think I'm going to need some higher quality circuitry before I do any repairing. Possibly a new generator for the blunt waves. They're very volatile. Probably have to upgrade the equipment to a higher industrial standard. But I'll be going over every data point I can of why the generator failed today. Fortunately, it seems to have completed the procedure, at least to a significant degree, so that we're reaping the benefits, at least short term." So Chi Chi just ignored her. She didn't want to hear any of the psycho babble or techno babble or whatever Bulma called it. Really wasn't interested in that. The only thing interested her was confronting King Piccolo, correction, Piccolo Jr., and getting her son back, which hopefully would be able to do soon. Now all she needed to do was train. Even at her increased rate, she knew she was no match for Piccolo Jr., who was only a notch or two below her own dear husband, who was the greatest warrior on earth. Even with increased strength and, in particular, increased potential to grow stronger, faster, much faster than a typical fighter through training, based on Goku's extraordinary rate of growth, which she had witnessed firsthand over the years, she would not be able to catch up to Piccolo Jr. overnight. She had to think, who could she train with? The other fighters were away on Kami's lookout, and it's probably too late for her to go there. Maybe she could train with her father, or maybe look up that launch girl who Tien was fond of. She was still around. She couldn't really train with Bulma because she'd have to bring Bulma up to speed. She'd be the one doing the instructing, and she wouldn't really be able to gain any benefits from that. So, with that in mind, Chi-Chi bid Bulma a farewell, promising again to fill out the journal, which she was not too fond of. She was never much of a scholar, even though that's what she aspired for Gohan to have, to be better than her. So she didn't really see the value in keeping a daily log, as Bulma expected her to do. She didn't really mind putting down side effects, but keeping day in, day out, and of her training regimen and her progress, that didn't seem so important to her. So Chi-Chi went off to hopefully be able to improve herself, while Bulma was thinking of the same thing, of how to test out her new abilities. Meanwhile, on the lookout, The other human Z fighters continued to train, oblivious to this game-changing procedure that had been developed by Bulma, even though they could not take advantage of it currently because of the blunt wave generator. And in the other world, Goku, blissfully ignorant as well of recent developments, went about his journey down Snake Way to train with the legendary King Kai, and in the wasteland, Piccolo Jr. put poor Gohan through his paces as they underwent their brutal training, and in space, two pods carrying two Saiyan invaders hurtled towards Earth, and even deeper in space, Frieza planned his machinations for the universe, all of them oblivious to Bulma's invention and the impacts it would have on the future of them all. If you like this idea and want to see it developed further, please like, share, and subscribe, or leave a comment below. Like, share, or subscribe, or leave a comment below. This is Selgris, and I want to thank you for listening to my current story prologue. What if Bulma developed a way to make the humans stronger? Or what if Bulma invented a way to make the humans stronger? To be continued.